Greetings, seekers of knowledge and wisdom. In the vast tapestry of human history, few texts have left as indelible a mark on hearts and minds as the Bible. A sacred repository of spiritual wisdom, it has been a guiding light for millions, offering solace, inspiration, and a moral compass. However, within the sanctity of its verses, a complex interplay of interpretations has unfolded, giving rise to profound controversies that echo through the corridors of time. As we embark on this exploration, let us tread with reverence and curiosity into the realm of biblical narratives, acknowledging the multifaceted nature of its teachings. The Bible, a collection of ancient texts rich with metaphor and meaning, has been subjected to diverse readings, interpretations, and, unfortunately, misinterpretations. Our journey aims to unravel some of the most significant instances where these misinterpretations, when distorted, have left an enduring imprint on history, societal norms, and, in some instances, ignited conflicts. May this exploration serve as an invitation to reflect on the responsibility that comes with interpreting sacred texts and the profound impact it can have on the human experience. The Bible has undergone various translations and interpretations over centuries, with different versions reflecting linguistic and theological choices. The linguistic choices made during translation, theological perspectives embraced by different denominations, and the evolution of language itself over centuries can introduce variations in how certain passages are understood. Now, picture the medieval era, a time when fervent religious leaders and zealous followers selectively misused certain biblical passages to galvanize armies for what they deemed divinely ordained conquests. The consequences were far-reaching, culminating in a series of protracted and brutal conflicts that etched themselves into the historical narrative. One glaring example unfolds as we scrutinize the misuse of passages like "Onward, Christian Soldiers" from hymns inspired by biblical verses to rally crusaders. In a bid to reclaim the Holy Land, these misinterpretations spurred on waves of violence, leading to protracted and brutal conflicts that left an indelible mark on history. Pope Urban II, in the late 11th century, seized a unique opportunity to consolidate the influence of the Catholic Church and address political challenges. At the Council of Clermont in 1095, Pope Urban II delivered a rousing speech, urging Christians to embark on a holy war to reclaim Jerusalem from the Muslims. While invoking religious duty, his underlying motives were also driven by geopolitical considerations. The Byzantine Empire sought assistance against the Seljuk Turks, and Pope Urban II saw an opportunity to unite Western Christendom and assert papal authority. The call to arms was infused with religious fervor, promising spiritual rewards to those who participated. This manipulation of biblical teachings provided a moral justification for military actions. The idea of reclaiming the Holy Land became a powerful rallying point, leading to the mobilization of armies under the banner of the cross. As the First Crusade unfolded, it became a complex intersection of religious zeal, political maneuvering, and territorial ambitions. The manipulation of sacred messages fueled a wave of violence, with devastating consequences for both the Christian and Muslim communities. The legacy of the Crusades reverberates through history, illustrating the dangers when divine teachings are exploited for worldly pursuits. Transporting ourselves to this bygone era, we witness the plight of countless individuals, predominantly vulnerable women, ensnared in accusations of witchcraft. The infamous biblical passage, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," served as a chilling justification for the Inquisition-style trials that unfolded. The aftermath of these dark episodes echoes through time, imprinting indelible scars on collective societal memory and standing as a stark warning against the perilous path of distorting Scripture. Certain biblical passages have been deliberately misinterpreted to justify discrimination, resulting in profound societal consequences. In the context of racial discrimination, the story of Noah's son, Ham, has been misused. Some interpretations suggested that Ham's descendants were cursed, providing a twisted justification for the enslavement and mistreatment of African people during the era of transatlantic slavery. This misinterpretation not only perpetuated horrific acts, but also embedded racist attitudes in societies, leaving a painful legacy that echoes through history. An infamous case is the misuse of biblical interpretations, such as slaves, obey your earthly masters, to defend racial superiority during the era of slavery in the United States. During periods of history, certain religious figures justified or condoned slavery, using misinterpretations of biblical passages to support their arguments. In the American South, particularly during the era of slavery, some Anglican and Episcopal churches had connections to slaveholding. Certain Catholic religious orders were associated with the institution of slavery, especially in territories controlled by Portugal and Spain. Examples include the Jesuits, Franciscans, and Dominicans. While not all members of these orders participated in or supported slavery, some were involved in the administration of colonies where slavery was prevalent. During periods of colonial expansion, missionaries were sometimes involved in the colonization and exploitation of foreign lands, which included the establishment and maintenance of slave systems. This involvement blurred the lines between religious motives and economic interests. Some Christian denominations in the southern United States, including Baptists and Methodists, publicly endorsed slavery before the American Civil War. Prominent religious figures, such as the Southern Baptist Convention's early leaders, defended the institution of slavery, claiming it was biblically justifiable. The Catholic Church, through papal bulls, issued directives that indirectly contributed to the justification of slavery during the Age of Discovery. For example, Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull Dum Diversas in 1452, which granted authority to Portuguese and Spanish monarchs to enslave non-Christian populations they encountered. The Book of Leviticus contains various commandments, some of which have been selectively applied to condemn certain groups. For instance, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind, as with womankind, it is an abomination," has been misused and contributed to the stigmatization and marginalization of individuals based on their sexual orientation, perpetuating societal prejudices. In these verses, the Old Testament condemns same-sex relations, framing them within a cultural and historical context that is vastly different from contemporary understandings of human sexuality. Leviticus, part of the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament, is believed to have been written around the 6th or 7th century before current era, during a time when ancient Israelite society held distinct cultural and religious practices. The prohibition against same-sex relations in Leviticus is situated within the broader framework of the Holiness Code, which aimed to guide the Israelites in leading a morally upright life. The language used is unequivocal in condemning same-sex relations, deeming them as detestable. The misapplication of these passages has, unfortunately, fueled a narrative that has contributed to the marginalization and stigmatization of individuals based on their sexual orientation. Misinterpretations of Ephesians. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord, have been employed to justify the subjugation of women, limiting their roles in both familial and societal spheres. Such distortions have had profound consequences, shaping patriarchal structures and reinforcing gender inequalities. The impact of these misinterpretations persists, influencing societal norms and attitudes toward gender roles. Mark contains teachings of Jesus regarding divorce. In these verses, Jesus states, "Anyone who divorces his wife and marries another woman commits adultery against her. And if she divorces her husband and marries another man, she commits adultery." Misinterpretations of this passage have been employed to reinforce gender inequality, particularly by placing a disproportionate burden on women regarding marital fidelity. Some interpretations have been used to suggest that women bear more responsibility for maintaining the sanctity of marriage, and that divorce initiated by a woman is viewed more critically. In conclusion, the Bible, as a revered and influential text, have had a profound impact on societies across the centuries. From endorsing discrimination to fueling crusades, the consequences of distorted biblical readings are woven into the fabric of human experience. Our exploration emphasizes the importance of historical context, linguistic nuances, and a balanced theological approach when engaging with sacred texts. The misinterpretations we've dissected serve as cautionary tales, urging scholars, religious leaders, and believers alike to approach the Bible with humility, openness, and a commitment to understanding its broader message of love and compassion. Now, how can we navigate the delicate balance between honoring sacred texts and ensuring interpretations promote equality, justice, and inclusivity in our contemporary world? Feel free to engage with this question in the comment section, sharing your insights and perspectives. Hit subscribe, join our community, and together, let's illuminate the world with the brilliance of understanding. Until our virtual paths cross again, may your curiosity guide you to new realms of enlightenment.